All right. We are ready to get started. Hello, Twitch. Hello, YouTube. How are we doing today? Let's go ahead and we're going to kill the video here. All right. Welcome to the show. I am Jimmy, and we are doing some auditions today. We had to do a little bit of last-minute workarounds to fix some settings, but I hope that everything is okay with you all, because we're feeling fine. We're feeling good. So we're going to be doing some auditions today, both on voices, on Voice123, and if we've got time, we will head over to ACX and do some audiobook auditions. But the main focus here is going to be on doing just straight up like commercial, the kinds of voice auditions that you'll see over on voices.com and voice123.com. Those are the two biggest, what we call pay-to-play audition websites. There's a little bit of a higher barrier to entry, generally speaking, both on the client and the talent side, higher than you'll see at least on places like Fiverr and Upwork and things. Not to disparage any folks who are getting work from those places. God bless you. You're working hard for it. But we're going to be trying to get some work over on Voices and Voice123, and then sort of the majority of my my experience, my background in my relatively short career in this field here has actually been in the world of audiobooks. So hopefully at the end here we'll be able to switch on over to ACX and see what's going on there. I do have chat up and running for both YouTube and Twitch. I should be able to follow both of those. They're sort of here in my peripheral vision. If I don't respond immediately, because we're so engrossed in whatever audition we're looking at. Please give me a moment. I will do my best to get you your comments there. Feel free to ask me any questions about gear, about software, about the business, about what the hell I'm doing. But we're all trying to figure this thing out together. I am by no means, I don't pretend to be a coach. I don't have a ton of experience in this industry. I'm kind of, you're sort of coming along with me. If you're watching this channel, there's a good chance that you're trying to figure things out yourself. So you can sort of live sit next to me and sort of learn from my mistakes as we go. I am a full-time booking voice talent. I'm not a millionaire from this by any means, but I'm paying some bills. And so we're seeing enough success that we haven't immediately gone back to our day job. This is what we're doing, and we're having a blast while we're doing it. So we're going to, today we're going to be looking right in here. We've got the voices.com tab pulled up. We are working in Pro Tools. Everything that I'm doing today is absolutely possible to do in virtually any DAW, digital audio workstation. So if you've got a freebie like Audacity, that's totally fine. You can do everything that I'm doing here. This is just what I'm used to doing and what I'm fast in because of my experience with doing music for 20 plus years. Pro Tools, just for whatever reason, is the industry standard as far as music goes. But nothing I'm doing here can't be done in just about any DAW out there. We can talk about that if you have questions about DAWs in general. So the first part of any audition day, no matter what time of day you come in, audition jobs roll in at different times of day, and you'll see particularly a difference between voices.com and voice123.com when the jobs come in, and that's sort of how they, based on the differences of how they decide to implement their versions of their sorting algorithms. So for voices, if you're going to be all one or the other, sort of examine what kind of a person you are. If you're someone who can get up at 7 a.m. and you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, if you're one of those freaks, you don't need good luck from me, because obviously you're ahead of the game. You're born with that special gene. I am not one of those people. And so voices actually is a little tougher for me because these jobs tend to roll in a little bit earlier in the day. They do roll in throughout the day, but often, right now my streaming schedule, which is different from my screaming schedule, which is robust. My streaming schedule, I'm starting at 2 p.m. Eastern time. I might need to move this forward. I might need to start streaming at noon so that we can catch some of these jobs earlier, because the first part of any audition day is going to be just really quickly running through and eliminating all of the no jobs, just eliminating the jobs that you're not even going to waste your time looking at because they're either too low paying for you, in which case you can adjust your filters, or in the case of some of these, because there are way too many people in line in front of you, and it would be just kind of a waste of your time. Take this one, for example. Yeah, we would love to get this job and earn this budget, but there are literally 99 people in line ahead of us. And yeah, we are a 100% voice match, but we're going to assume that a great many of these 99 people in front of us also have their stuff together and have fully optimized their profiles to where they also have a 100% voice match. The way the tiers sort of break down on voices.com is that basically you do all the work up front of uploading demos, your samples, of inputting all the metadata, all the tags. So down here we've got different tags for voice age, for voice role, for style, commanding, exaggerated, all of these things. Apparently somewhere in my metadata, I've got it set up to where somehow alpha male, commanding, and exaggerated all landed at a 100% voice match for me. I'm kind of surprised at that. But at any rate, so it's decided that I'm a 100% voice match for this job. And so uploading one demo is not the way to succeed on voices.com. Because if you upload one demo, yeah, jobs that sort of perfectly nail that one demo and all the metadata that you entered in for that one demo, you'll get a 100% match for those jobs, but there are lots of different jobs. Or sometimes clients will put in slightly different things when maybe they mean exactly what your demo is nailing, but they just chose slightly different tags because that's just how they felt like choosing. And so suddenly you're a 70% voice match, and you're going to get pushed way down as far as what they see. So the way to succeed on voices on the front end there is to upload. Say you actually go and you get a commercial demo produced with 5 little mini spots on it. Have that demo producer, or you can do it yourself, split that, give you the 5 constituent mini spots, and then upload each of those individually into voices. And hopefully there's enough, if you've got a good commercial demo, that the big collection has some range. So each of those 5 spots will demonstrate a different kind of read, a different emotion, a different voice in some way. Separate those 5s out, tag them all with correct, appropriate, and accurate tags, but tag them all a little bit differently. Even if 2 reads are quite similar, you can sort of like, okay, this one is believable and conversational, whereas this one is real person and authentic. Like, those all really kind of mean the same thing, but you want to diversify your tags a little bit to make sure, again, we're not gaming the algorithm because we're being honest and truthful. You're optimizing yourself for the algorithm. That is all to say, okay, so what? A 100% match versus a 50% voice match. What does that mean? Like, what's wrong? Am I really getting hurt by getting a lower percentage voice match? What is it? What's the actual effect? It basically, my understanding is it's simply the order in which the end client sees your audition. So all of the 100%, such as myself for this particular job, those are going to be at the top of the list. And everyone in the 100% bucket, who is at the top of that list? Whoever's first, baby. So if you get a job that rolls in that you're 100% for, and you are quick and you get your audition in right away, you are going to be the very, very, very first thing that client sees to click play on your audition. Now, if you're a 90% voice match and you're so super quick, you're going to be at the very, very top of the 90% list. But say the client doesn't, say they post the thing and they post it right at the end of their workday. Oh, and it's a Friday, and they're not going to check their auditions until the Monday. And say it's a project with a big budget like this. So Monday morning, when they roll in and they open up and check their auditions for their little job on voices.com, what are they going to see? They're going to see all the 100% auditions that came in all weekend. And if they make it through those, they might get 50 of those. They might get more. If they make it through all of those and they still haven't found the one, then maybe they'll go to the 90%. The end client they don't necessarily know what the percentage means. They don't know that it's just like, oh, it's based on just how you put in the work to optimize yourself for the algorithm. They might just be thinking like, well, there's some kind of magic happening where the website just knows that if I'm asking for believable conversational, that, there are plenty of people who are 20% matches who might have the perfect read, and it is a believable conversational read, but they just haven't done the work in the algorithm. And so the client might be like, well, why would I listen to this person? They're only a 20% match. There's some incongruity. There's a little disconnection there. So maybe there's some altering to some verbiage that could happen, but this is the game as it is right now. So this is the game that we have to play. Do the work up front. Get yourself set up to where you're going to start to see more and more 100%. If you see consistently certain kind of jobs that you're interested in are giving you like 80 and 90%, scroll down and look at the role tags and the style tags and see if there's maybe something that you need to tweak, or maybe you just need to get new demos, like more demos produced. Gone are the days of having just one demo that had 3 spots on it. You could fire and forget, and just it would do all the work for you, and you would book straight off of that. For voices.com, if you want to book here, it really helps to have a ton of different small short demos, because each one that you upload, that gives you the opportunity to, I think, apply like 10 more tags. So if you have just one demo, that's only 10 tags you can apply, and you got to make some tough decisions. This is all very long-winded way to say we're not going to audition for this job. Again, there are 100 people in front of us. Even at a 100% voice match, it's very unlikely that we're going to be listened to at all, even though it's a very short piece of copy. This would be fun. It's a fun, it's a spot for, one of those, wipes. And it's talking about the confidence of the Old Spice delivery. That's very fun. Like, it would be very, very fun. But we're not going to do it. Because this stream is not about, having fun, and making laughs. Although hopefully we do. This stream is about, like, what is the real work like of an attempting to be working voice actor. Again, we're seeing kind of a bummer here today. Mondays are a bit like this. Mondays, you really do need to be an early bird on Mondays. Tuesdays, I find, are sort of busy. Things roll in all day on Tuesdays. Our emails are usually blowing up throughout the day on Tuesdays. But let's take a look here. This again, 78 people in front of us. Yeah, it's a decent budget, and it's a really good voice match. But we're gonna archive that and not do that one. When it's around 50, I'll consider it if I'm a high enough voice match. Here, I'm only 90%. It's a low budget, and there's 50 plus people in front of us. This is a telephone, like a telephony, like an IVR, on-hold messaging type of job, those are great jobs to get because those tend to turn into follow-on work sort of in the future, and it's great to have that. But again, with these three top-line things, we're going to pass on this one. Let's take a look at the next one here. 60 responses in front of us. Shoe advertising, Hyperflex. 100% voice match, 60 people in front of us. Better budget. Let's take a look. Edgy, fun, impactful, and some attitude. Some of those words I feel comfortable reading for. Attitude, sure, I love giving some attitude. But the edgy, that makes me think that there might be a little bit of a mismatch between the age that they've requested. And, it's not to say that people between the ages of 35 to 54 can't be edgy, fun, impactful, and full of attitude. It's just that you usually don't see these attributes combined with this age range. Let's take a look at the script though. Let's see what we got here. The Hyperflex script. Let's bring it over and resize. So in addition to obviously considering, about the algorithm, you need to think about, like, are you wasting this client's time and your own time? Obviously you don't want to do that. Why do we have this crazy stroke going on? Oh, that's going to give me a stroke. Why? What are you doing? Clear formatting. Okay, wow. The things some people do to their scripts, I'm sure it's very impactful in some settings, but for us, just trying to get to the text and read it. Let's hear you embody the game, eating it, breathing it, dialing it in here to crush it out there. You're the reason we made this shoe. It's a powerhouse of comfort, traction, and performance. So no matter where you play, bring it. Bring it. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it. Bring the Hyperflex. This does sound really fun. Let's check, though, if we want to do it, though. We were over on shoe advertisement. Again, there's 60 people in front of us. I think it's going to be a waste of our time and the client's time. I don't think that we're going to get that one. So we're going to keep moving. 52 responses ahead of us. Good budget. Love it when it's a fixed budget rather than a range. That lets you know, like, this client knows exactly what they want. They know what they're looking for. So that's good to go. Let's see here. Conversation between two employees of Otsuka. A give back event. Grounded and wacky. I don't know about wacky. We're looking for young adult ranges, so this is very likely not going to be for us. So you can set your tags up to where if you feel like your voice sort of straddles a couple of different age ranges, or if you can do a brilliant, like, child voice, there's money to be made if you can do a really, really good childlike voice. And likewise, if you sort of have like that sort of gravitas to give a really good senior read, then there's loads of work. But if your voice kind of, if your actual age range, so I'm near enough to this cutoff between 18 to 35 and the 35 to 54 range. I'm near enough that cutoff that I've got samples that sort of are targeted to both of those buckets. And depending on the time of the day, I can do a pretty good senior read. So I'll occasionally read for those. So seeing the young adult age range isn't an automatic, no, I'm not going to read that. It just depends on what part of this age range do they mean. Do they mean like, oh, like a 33-year-old sort of a young dad or young professional type of read? Then yeah, absolutely, I'm going to do that one. But if they want the what would you call them, like smack dab in the middle of Gen Z type of read, that's not me. That's obviously not me. So I'm probably going to skip that job. So let's take a look here. Okay, let's get going. Yes, let's do it. Where are we going? Planning a give back event. Oh, right, of course. Well, I love cats. So like, could we do something with the Kitty Cuddles Foundation where we give everyone a cat to snuggle? This does seem like it's a younger type of read. So we're gonna skip this one. We might consider just going for it. Again, if there weren't 52 people in line in front of us. So we're gonna archive that one. We're gonna see if any of these are jobs coming in. Looks like not. We're gonna keep going. HC Plot John. Sometimes you'll see this, you'll see various kinds of alerts coming up at the top of voices.com. Sometimes it's a notification that, hey, this job is being handled by voices.com. Like they've got like a managed services thing that clients can opt into. I think they pay Voices like an extra fee to where they just, if there's, this usually happens, I think, when there's no middleman, where they're not hiring a production company, and usually it's the production company that comes to Voices and they handle the hiring of talent. But if it's just a small, like, you know, mom and pop type shop, and they're just like, I don't want to deal with sifting through a million auditions and negotiating and doing all this stuff, so I'm just going to pay you, Voices. You handle finding the talent and connecting us. You'll see those kind of situations. This is a case, however, where some other talent, some other person like us, saw this audition and found it wanting. There's, according to some other talent out there, there's something wrong with this job. And it says some talent somewhere out there feels that there is missing or incorrect script or reference files. This could be that there is no script. That occasionally happens. It could be that the script is in a messed up format, or the script it doesn't match what the job ostensibly is for, or maybe the script, there's something fishy about it. Sometimes you'll get script that is like, is this just AI training? What is this script? So let's take a look here. It's a zip file. Absolutely not. No way in hell am I downloading a zip file. Absolutely not. You know, I would report a concern. Actually, I can't report a concern. I can't report a concern. I guess that once this is here, you just can't. So, sorry. Like my guys, I'm sure they'll get it sorted. But right now, I'm absolutely not downloading a zip file from a random client. I'm just not going to do it. Here, I'm a 90% voice match. There's 45 people in line in front of me, and it's the lower bucket of jobs. It is a really short, simple job, 15 words, but let's take a look here. And here again, this is not so much a problem. You do see this from legitimate clients in Excel spreadsheet format. You'll see this from certain, it's usually from a production company that you'll see it, and this is just the format. They're often interfacing with businesses who do most of their work in Excel, and so they sort of have developed that as part of their workflow. It's totally normal. It's not something that you got to be creeped out about to see an Excel spreadsheet there. We're going to skip the, we'll take a look at it just so you can see, like, well, okay, what does it look like when a script comes along in Excel? This is what it looks like. So let's resize this just a little bit. So obviously, there's a lot of kanji or similar type of script here. Oh, it is Chinese. Okay. Content English. I will pass judgment on it. The law is not our powerful. Leave it to me. So this sounds like it's some kind of Yep, there it is. There's our character. So I don't know if that straight up is Bane. They're calling him the Arbiter. So it's not Bane. That's not Bane. um, so, I don't know if they're wanting us to do a not Bane voice. A not Bane voice. But this is not for us. We're going to pass on it. Best of luck to you folks. Let's take a look here. Add VO, script for product launch, American VO. Okay. Doesn't tell us much, but that's pretty common. Pretty short, 38 seconds. Again, we're in the young adult bucket, but let's see how young they mean. We've got a reference file. This is great. You love to see a reference file. We're going to go ahead and take a look at it. Let's see here. We're going to look at the, let's see here. Let's see here. The new game-changing way to cook. Oh, it's cookware. Cool. That's fun. Let's take a look here. Okay, cool. Cool. Using that, perhaps public domain music, but it's really impactful. It does the job. So let's take a look here. We're going to finally, nearly 30 minutes into the stream, we're finally going to do an audition. So we're going to see here. There's a new game-changing way. Let's see here. The video is meant to supplement the design supers in the video. We will assess pacing of the elements in post-production. So you are not expected, especially since they've laid it out here, but generally speaking, if they upload some kind of reference, it is generally understood that that is likely a rough cut, that they are going to have some latitude in adjusting cuts and things like that. So you don't need to try to do ADR. You're not trying to read exactly to whatever video that they've provided for reference. So you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to import the video and then watch and read at the same time. That is a whole different skill set that you should be compensated appropriately for. But they say right here, we will assess pacing in post-production. They get a rough cut, usually the order of operations. They get a rough cut, and sort of before they've solidified that video edit, then they need to get the final voiceover, and then they sort of tweak the video cuts and whatever audio cues. They tweak that according to the actual pacing of the final voiceover. It's not generally our jobs to be frame perfect on voiceover timing. We're just trying to give a good read that the client's happy with. So let's go ahead. We haven't fully read this copy. We like to try to read the copy cold if we can, because that allows us to be surprised by the copy, surprised by the twists and turns. Now, often we're going to stumble because we are not the greatest cold readers in the world, but you only have the opportunity once to be surprised by the copy. So we give ourselves that chance. We hit record. There's a new game-changing way to cook, and it's the Always Pan Pro from Our Place. It's a completely new cookware technology made with a coating and... Let's see here. We're going to... It's sometimes this could be read like, there's a new game-changing way to cook. That's probably not the read they're looking for. So what we're going to do, little pro tip here that I highly recommend, we're going to have that audio playing in our ears as we do this read. So we're going to open this up. We're going to tab over to Pro Tools here. I'm going to hit record, bring our script up. There's a new game-changing way to cook, and it's the Always Pan Pro from Our Place. It's a completely new cookware technology, made without a coating and zero forever chemicals. Made without a coating and zero forever chemicals. It can withstand extreme temperatures like stainless steel or cast iron, but the incredibly Okay. Okay. Interesting. We've got a funny script thing. This does happen from time to time where the language is not super natural. you always hear, well, just say this like you would say this to a friend. And you want to scream, I would never say this to a friend. People don't talk like that. And therein lies the great difficulty and challenge of voiceover is sometimes you get copy that is not written in the way that people say things. And you just have to bridge that gap. But here's a case where I feel like we've got something that feels like a logical mismatch between there's sort of a grammar logic thing happening here. So it can withstand extreme temperatures like stainless steel or cast iron, but the incredibly nonstick effect comes from, there is a logical disconnect there, but the construction does grammatically follow if you put the emphasis in the right spots there. So we're going to quit whining. Cast iron, but the incredible, go back to here. Let's make sure this is coming through in OBS correctly so that you all can hear. And extreme temperatures like it can withstand extreme. Okay, so this is fun. This is a fun stand extreme temp. We're further back than that. And zero forever chemicals. Made without and zero. Okay, after zero forever chemicals. It's so funny. Hearing this without the music, I'm like, oh my God, it feels a little aggressive. But with the music, it felt right. It felt good. The pacing felt right, and the tone felt right. We'll see if the client agrees. We're going to go back. We're going to see if our hotkey works. Not working. So we'll have to bring this up and hit play on it again. Go over to Pro Tools, come over to our script. And zero forever chemicals. It can withstand extreme temperatures like It can withstand extreme temperatures. It can withstand extreme temperatures like stainless steel or cast iron, but the incredibly non-stick effect. But the incredibly non-stick effect comes from a hydrophobic. But the incredibly non-stick effect comes from a hydrophobic. We're having a hard time, and that's okay. We're going to do it without the music for right now. And zero forever chemicals. It can withstand extreme temperatures like stainless steel or cast iron, but the incredibly non-stick effect comes from a hydrophobic technology inspired by nature. Cook whatever you want, however you want. This is everything you ever wanted from a pan. The Always Pan Pro from our place. Get yours now. Okay, we feel good about that. You know, you like to have the music in the background if it's helpful. But sometimes it ain't helpful. Sometimes you're just distracted a little bit. There's a new game-changing way to cook, and it's the Always Pan Pro from our place. Is this the edit? It's a completely new cookware technology made without a coating, zero forever completely new cookware technology made without a coating and zero forever chemicals. Made without a coating. Okay. It's a completely new cookware technology. Completely new cookware technology. Good. Made without a coating and zero forever chemicals. Made without a coating and zero forever chemicals. It can withstand extreme temperatures like stainless steel or cast iron, but the incredibly non-stick effect comes from a hydrophobic technology inspired by nature. Okay. Cook whatever you want, however you want. This is everything you ever wanted from a pan. The Always Pan Pro from our place. Get yours now. Okay. We're feeling good about that. We're going to apply our crossfades. We're going to turn on RX. We're going to hit bounce. The Always Pan Pro. Why not? Always Pan Pro. Here we go. Now, we could absolutely agonize over this. You know, my feeling there was yeah, maybe the tone wasn't exactly perfectly right or whatever, and you could absolutely spend an hour on that. But we are doing auditions here. The whole point of this is you've got to be fast, fast, fast. There are already 14 people in line ahead of us. If we want to get listened to and even have a chance of getting hired, you got to be fast. We are in Pro Tools bounces. Thank you. VoiceOver auditions, the Always Pan Pro. Yeah, you got to be fast, man, or you'll never even get listened to. And how are you going to get hired if you don't get listened to? Now, a little insight into a little behind the scenes here. I make a little joke here about, we'll see how long we can do this stream before we get kicked off of Voices or Voice123. I checked the terms of service on both sites, and it didn't seem like any of what I'm doing was explicitly not allowed on the sites. And so I thought, like, hey, I'm probably good, but they might, tell me to knock it off. In that case, we'd have to figure out something else to do on the channel here. But I did get a message from the folks at Voice123. But it wasn't a nasty, you shall cease and desist immediately. It wasn't a nastygram. It was actually very polite. It was very constructive. They had some information about some things that I had questions about. I'd said multiple times in the stream over the last week, like, hey, I think the algorithm works like XYZ. But if I'm wrong, I'd love to be told that I'm wrong. And they told me that I was wrong. They sort of corrected me. So that's great to hear. Love to hear that. They did ask that I try to obscure certain kinds of client information. Now, not every client makes that information apparent from the job posting. So what we're going to do is we're just going to drag the Voice123 window away from the stream to where you can't see it, just while I'm scanning and looking through stuff. But as I find things that are worth looking at, I will bring it back over and we'll take a look at it. In fact, the easiest way probably to do that is to just do this while I'm looking. So that's what we're doing here. So real quick, we're gonna just broadly, I think we're gonna be okay to show broadly. This is the Voice123 sort of the talent landing page, the portal that you're going to be looking at. But when we click into one, let's click into one. Let's see if there's anything identifying about this client here. There's absolutely nothing identifying about this client here, except for the very title here. Can we please, is there a way that we can obscure that? We're going to obscure that with with our little script window here, if we can. Because we want to make Voice123 happy. Oh, there's actually two spots here, so we're we're figuring this out as we go. So we'll actually use we'll just use a couple windows here to make this. Again, we want to make our friends at Voice123 happy. So heading back over here. So I'm on Voices. I'm covering up a couple of things about this job. So it anonymizes the actual client name right here. So that's great. That makes our life as a streamer trying to keep Voice123 happy, makes our life a whole lot easier. Up here you would see like the project title or something like that. Sometimes clients put something super, super generic like commercial voiceover. Thank you for that very informative title. But sometimes in a case like this, it actually will have like the client name or something like that, which is why we've got this just generic window up here covering that. Likewise, down here, there's another little thing that had like project title, and it actually includes the client's name in there. So that's why for the moment, we're covering that up. Now, again, client name itself is anonymized, but we can get some good information about the client. And this is a perfect example of a couple of immediate reasons we're going to pass on this audition. First of all, this client is over the amount of requested proposals. They requested 25 proposals from Voice123, looking for, that's what Voice123 calls auditions from talent like us. They post a job, hey, I want to hear 25 different voices, 25 auditions, 25 proposals. They've already received 30. Now, the cool bit of information that I got from our friends at Voice123, I was on Voice123, the algorithm, you live and die by the algorithm. And so I was very concerned that if a client didn't listen to you at all, for whatever reason, I thought that's going to ding you in the algorithm. But it turns out that if a client doesn't hear you, that won't affect you in the algorithm. Now, if they do listen to you and then they take no action, that is the thing that is going to ding you, because doing nothing is an indicator as far as the algorithm is concerned. It's an indicator of a lack of interest. It's an indicator that they didn't like what they heard. If they did like it, they would like it or they would hire you. Many clients use the like system as their way of shortlisting, which makes sense. And so sometimes you'll get the very annoying thing of you'll get a like and then later that like will disappear. That certainly is a thing on voices.com. I'm not sure how that affects things in the Voice123 algorithm. That would be another. There's so many little things that you got to be curious, like how does this affect me in the algorithm? But we do know for sure that if we submitted now and this client didn't listen to us, it wouldn't hurt us in the algorithm. It would just be a waste of our own time. And we don't want to do that either. The other reason I won't do this is because this client doesn't listen to less than half. They listen to a fifth of what they get. So it seems like I don't want to be rude, and best of luck to this client. Maybe they've got their reasons. Maybe they listen to a couple of auditions and they immediately find the perfect talent and they hire them on the spot. And if that's the case, then more power to them. We love decisive clients. So maybe that's what happens here. Or maybe they just, we're going to move on. I don't want to disparage clients. Again, clients have different reasons for doing different things. But when we see only 20% of proposals reviewed and they're over the amount of proposals they requested in the first place, according to this percentage, they're only going to listen to 5 or 6 of these proposals. So why would we care about being number 31? So we're going to back out of this. We're gonna switch over here so that we do not reveal the client's name when we click this button here, because again, we want to be nice to our friends at Voice123. Let's check another project to see if let's see here. This one gives away the client name. Yep, this one gives away a lot, but it's has a couple other bits that sort of, and we're going to open a couple of generic windows here that'll let us more effectively. I'm sure there's a more high-tech way to do what we're trying to do here, but for now, this is working okay. Here we go. So looking at this job, we're not super late to it. There's 14 out of 25 proposals. That's a perfectly reasonable time to get in. This client does only review 28% of proposals, but with one project posted, that might actually be the number for this one so far. So out of 14 proposals in, what is that number? I guess that's probably what, 4? They've listened to 4 of the proposals that they've gotten already, which that might just mean, maybe they're not based in the US and they're just asleep right now. So if the number is 1 project posted, take this next number with a grain of salt and don't judge the client based on that. So the real reason actually that we're going to pass on this, and this is just a personal thing, is this right down here. Budget. Looking for a quote. Generally speaking, there's nothing wrong with that. You as voice talent should be confident in the value of the service that you are providing, to where you feel confident in, whether you just depend on the GVAA rate guide. That's a great thing to depend on. In fact, I will put that in the chat for folks that are curious. I'll put that in the Twitch chat in particular here. Just a GVAA rate guide. I won't link it. I won't bother with that. You can be You can be grown-ups and you can look it up yourself. The GVA rate guide is a great resource for, I think it's like the Global Voice Actors Academy, or it's something like that. But it's a great resource for just about any situation. If you can get some information from the client about usage, duration, the geography of the market, all of that. If you get all the information, whether it's a union job or not, all of this stuff, you can figure out pretty well ballpark market rate for what you should quote them, and for what you should be getting paid. As you move up into the stratosphere of higher echelons, you're going to rely less and less on the GVA rate guide, and you're going to start to rely on, agents and managers to start to negotiate things like that. But if you're up in that area, then my problems are not your problems. You've got different, you've got rich people problems, and good for you, more power to you. But right now, us folks down here, we're trying to figure things out as we go. And the GVA rate guide is a great, great resource for doing that, for quoting things. However, I am hesitant to quote blindly on Voice123 because this is a situation, again, I said earlier, many clients use the like system to shortlist. That's their way of shortlisting. Rather than create like an Excel spreadsheet and like type your names in and stuff, they're just going to really quickly, their shorthand is going to be to like the things that are, maybe we hire this person. And maybe in that first run, they just like really quickly like as they go and listen. And maybe your audition gets a like, or maybe it doesn't, because they listen and their hand is hovering over the like button. Like, wow, I just listened to this. Sounds great. Shortlisting this for sure. Oh, wait, we just saw their quote. And it's $50 above where we want to be. And especially if this is a middleman, a middle person, they might go like, our client was pretty serious about their budget. Their budget is $750. This client quoted $790. We don't want to piss off our end client by sending them a potential talent who quoted $790. And we're not going to bother to determine if this talent is open to negotiating. So we're not even going to send this off to the client. So we're not going to give this a like to indicate that it's part of our shortlist. Their budget's out of our range, so why shortlist it? I'm not saying that happens all the time. I'm saying that the Voice123 algorithm, again, you live and die by the algorithm on Voice123. And so those are the kind of considerations I take into account every day on this website. I believe it's part of the reason I've been able to climb my way up for being a bottom 20% talent to a top 20% talent. When I got onto Voice123, I went crazy. I auditioned for everything. I was throwing quotes. I was doing everything I auditioned for without consideration to any of the stuff that we've been talking about. And that landed me really quickly in the bottom 20% of talent. And once you are down there, it is a sad place to be. You get all of the only auditions you see are the auditions that no one else wants to do because of budget or other reasons. And man, it is rough. But I climbed my way back up by applying all of these things. So if you can start from your clean slate of if you get onto Voice123, if you can start with a clean slate by doing these kinds of things, your journey to the top 20% is, maybe you sort of start there once the algorithm goes like, okay, I don't know how it works. Maybe it's like, okay, once this talent has submitted 10 auditions, then we use those to formulate where they're going to sit in the algorithm. So maybe once you submit that 10th audition, if that is the case, if you do things right, if you're careful, maybe you start out in the top 20%. And life will be so much better. Life in the bottom 20% was not great. Maybe we should do an experiment. I'll create a new, like a anonymized account, and I'll start over at the bottom, and we see what it's like to try to climb our ways up. But that would be sad. That's like doing a Dark Souls challenge run. Like a no-hit no dodge roll allow kind of run. Shout out to my my Dark Souls players out there. I actually don't play the game. I would get too mad. So this is again. We like to take detours on this channel. We're saying pass on this particular job because it's looking for a quote. And not only that, sometimes I will submit proposals with a quote if I have a really, really good sense that the client is experienced and therefore really knows what kind of quotes they should expect to see. But again, there's that tension of like, well, if you really were experienced, then you would put that as your budget range anyway, rather than just sort of leaving it up to the whims of like, some people are going to quote, seriously, on this job, I guarantee some people are going to quote $5. And some people are going to quote $1,500. How is that useful to us as talent or to the client? Like, it's wild. It's wild. So we're going to stay out of that mess and we're going to decline this. Once again, we're going to switch away so that we don't reveal the client name as we do this. So that one we pass on. Let's take a look here. We've got another project. Is there anything that gives it away? There is nothing at all so far that is giving this away. However, hold on. Okay. So this is an interesting project. So we're going to go ahead and bring it up on the screen because there's nothing that identifies this client. This is a dubbing project. Now, dubbing is man, that is great work if you can get it. I don't have dubbing experience. I haven't done much animation at all, and this is like proper, like the animation already exists. It's just in a different language, and you are going to be the English language dub. And so this requires that you are going to actually, you should hopefully have a really, really good granular layout sort of script, hopefully with timestamps and everything. But you're going to have to be watching, have some kind of video source up, and line things up. There is a ton of work on the back end for dubbing. Your file organization, your file handling has to be top notch. You have to really know, have good systems in place to keep track of things and deliver things. You know, some clients will have, you know, this is our naming convention that we like to use and so forth. There's going to be a lot in this project. This is a huge lift, like a very specialized talent that they're looking for. And so this one also says looking for a quote. They should expect to really pay a lot. And this is a case, if I was the client, you know, again, I don't want my friends at Voice123 to get upset with me, but I would kind of just go like, I'm just going to go through an agency for this, because trying to find the right talent who can do all of these things, to do all the things that you have to do to properly execute a dubbing job, wow, like that's a specialized talent. Voice talent, know thyself. That's one of my mantras here. Voice talent, know thyself. I know that I'm not confident in my own skill set at this time to take this job on and to deliver it fast and to the professional standard that I hold myself to. So we are going to pass on this job. Once again, we're going to switch over so that we can safely decline without showing other clients' names. Does this one reveal the client? Let's see here. Just in case these initials do, we're going to bring up our thing. Now, when I let's see, when I come over here, it's going to be sort of pre-scrolled down, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. So I've already scrolled down on this page, and we can see that the budget has a fixed budget of $70, which for some work is fine. A great thing about Voice123 versus Voices.com. Voices.com, anytime you see this budget number in your head, you need to quickly apply a multiplier to that, a multiplier of 0.8, 80%. because voices.com takes 20% off of any fee that you're seeing. It takes it off that. So if you see a job posted for $500, don't think, oh, cool, $500. You need to think $400. That's $400. Got to remember that. But Voice123 does not do that. What you see is what you get. If you book the job for $70 or for $500, you get paid that amount. So that's great. No, that's just a mental load off your shoulders here. So on this one, the reason we're going to pass on this one is because of this, custom auditions. Why don't you want a custom audition? Send me related samples. So they just want to get a bunch of demos, which, it used to be that, the majority of work in VoiceOver was booked off of demos. But we've got this beautiful platform here, Voice123, where you can quickly and easily get custom auditions so that you as the client don't have to use your imagination to know, well, here's this commercial read for Ford trucks, that kind of read, but I've got a Bass Pro Shop type of thing, and it's close, it's similar, but it's not the exact same kind of read. So I'm going to have to use my imagination and trust that a client will be able to read my copy exactly. Why do that when you could post your custom script and get a custom audition of the talent reading your script, hearing how they say your name? Why wouldn't you want that? I'll never understand why this ever gets posted on Voice123. Like, I would get it if Voice123 on the back end charged the client to get custom auditions versus just getting samples. But as far as I know, they don't. I don't understand it. I just can't relate. And I also feel, again, we're always worried about the algorithm on Voice123. I also feel that if I'm happy with my demos, but I feel like if it is not a perfect dead ringer for the category and the client, then I feel like I'm way behind and that I'm not likely to get a like or to get hired. So generally speaking, I will pass anytime it says that they're not looking for a custom audition. I'm here. I'm in my booth that I put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and money into making this booth a professional quality voiceover booth. Please let me read a custom audition. That's what we're here for. So we're going to pass on this one. Anyone stumbling into the channel might think, wow, for a stream that's titled doing live auditions, this guy ain't doing many auditions. This is the life. This is the life. It's about saving yourself time by not picking the things that aren't right for you. Here's another case that we're going to obscure the client name because the client name is actually visible here. Usually client names are a bit anonymized. This is a strange one. So we're gonna all right, we're on this. We're gonna see what happens when we click this link.
Today I prepared you a Japanese-inspired breakfast.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and look at this because this is a strange one. So I've scrolled down because this is a case where the client name is not anonymized. Maybe that's an option when you're a client creating an account on here. But this client was not anonymized. You can actually see their first and last name, and you could see a little profile picture. So we're not going to show that. However, the project description, okay, this is all you've got cut downs. You'll often get that. You'll see that for TVC and digital Zoom session. This is all strangely put, but still very, very normal. And it says that they want a custom auditions, but where's the script? Do you really just want us to read the phrase, "Is it too low?" And then the project description, it links to a TikTok. We're going to check the TikTok.
Today I prepared you a Japanese-inspired breakfast that I know will leave you nourished and satisfied. We have a piece
What?
of roasted salmon.
What is that? What is that? Are we supposed to sound like that? Are we supposed to give this very like subdued, sort of influencer voice type of delivery? That sort of ASMR influencer voice. Hey guys, here's what we're doing today. Like, is that what they want, or is our voice going to replace that one? Do they want like a high? Like, are we looking for dub? We don't know. We don't know what's going on with this. Sometimes you'll see wild things in like file references, like, so none of this makes sense to me. I don't know what's going on. So we're gonna say negative to this job as well. I've never seen a TikTok linked for reference files. Let's see here. This next project, it's the same client, and this time they have linked a YouTube video. I'm sorry, we're not even going to bother. I don't know what this is about. And it looks like they've linked a third one, so we're not even going to open the project. Now we've got some kids-related projects. Let's see if the client name is visible. It looks like no. Okay. So this is funny because here we go. So this client, again, client names are anonymized, which is great. But I do recognize the way that this client sort of puts together their descriptions, which is great. You love to see consistency, especially for a client that posts a lot of projects. Like, it's great that it's consistent. You would expect someone that does this so much. However, this client generally is posting audiobooks, and generally the budget for them is very, very low. Now, the main part of my workday is narrating audiobooks. That is where the majority right now of my money comes in, as far as when I'm working with my voice. So I have a lot more thoughts and a lot more expertise to bring to bear on the audiobook side of the house. And I can just tell you that this rate, you might as well be working at Home Depot if you are looking at this rate for a book of this length. Especially if you are sort of newer to this, if you are not sort of a rip and fast editor and you don't have a great cold read where you can just zip through, it's very likely that when all is said and done, you're going to be close to making $15 to $20 per hour once you've read all of this. Like, if that, actually, with a rate this low, you actually might be close to legitimate, like, minimum wage in the southern U.S. Not minimum wage up here in the Northeast where I am. So this is one we're going to decline, and I believe this client has dropped a few books, so we know we can safely decline all of them. Here's another one that you can take a look at. Similar. Fixed budget, $100, recording length. So the number that you use for determining, like, okay, how long is this project going to be? Like, what does this mean? The number that ACX uses, and ACX is the Audiobook Creation Exchange, which is an Amazon platform. So Amazon, they got the data, they know what they're doing, and their estimate that they use for determining the duration of a book is they take the number of words and they say 9,300 words equals 1 hour of duration, and that is a really good rule of thumb. For most kinds of books. Certain kinds of books will be slower or faster. And I definitely I track my own stats really, really carefully. And I've had books where I've read super, super slow. That we're talking like financial literacy, like retirement planning, stock market, deep business analysis that really gets into the weeds where you're, I wasn't doing Black-Scholes calculations, but like near that level, doing like, reading out formula and stuff like that. And so there you'll see a much lower rate there. Also, anything like poetry or things that sort of have this very dramatic sense to the prose. There, I found myself really reading a lot slower. But if you've got, you know, a fiction book with a lot of characters who explicitly speak fast, then obviously your number's going to be a lot higher than that. That is all to say, we can a children's book, also you're going to expect that to be a little bit slower. So this 6,300 words, for a normal book, we would expect that to be about, just to ballpark it, 40 minutes. But for a children's book, you're going to expect to read a little bit slower. So this many words, it might even be as much as an hour. So just to make the math easy, say it's an hour. An hour of audio for $100. That's brutal. That ain't no way to make a living. My cold read isn't amazing. It's pretty good. It's not amazing, but it takes me about 2.3 to 2.5 hours to produce one finished hour of audio. So if this did yield one finished hour of audio, which it might, being a children's book, then basically I'd be earning $40 an hour, which isn't so bad. But again, I'm extremely quick on my edit, and I'm a decent cold reader. And a children's book, I feel like, is something you might be able to get away without pre-reading, but you are going to need to pre-read this book, so add that to your time investment. You know, the number that people throw out for brand new narrators, people who don't have a lot of experience with editing audio and things like that, you can expect a ratio, rather than my 2.3 to 2.5, you can expect a ratio closer to 6 to 10 to 1. So imagine if it is 10 to 1, if it takes you 6 hours to read it and then 4 hours to edit it, you're making $10 an hour. So depending on where you are in the United States or in the world, maybe that works for you and you can be happy making $10 an hour. But for me, $10 an hour is not going to pay my bills. I will be on the street, and it's very cold up here. So that's why we're going to pass. And so we're going to double check that the same budget, this client has posted a third project today, and we are double checking. And yes, indeed, same budget, $100 for a similar length book. So we're going to pass on that. Next one we've got, let's make sure our client is not identifiable. Looks like not identifiable, so let's bring it up. I think this client, actually, we did a couple of these auditions on Friday. So this client's coming back and giving some more. Looks like they're working on some kind of documentary about the Civil War. And it's sort of like the Ken Burns kind of thing where, you know, they're bringing up primary sources. Here's a letter from this soldier at the front. My dearest Martha, the redcoats are coming. Or you know, wrong more, but you get what I'm saying. So let's see here. Colonel Ezra Carmen from New Jersey. Accent should be typical for the region, but not too over the... So I absolutely do not have a New Jersey accent that I would feel comfortable sharing live on the stream. But usually for these Civil War battles, no matter where they're from, they all kind of get... There's a little bit of a... Oh, there's a dramatic bit of old-timiness to the voice, regardless of where in the 13 colonies they were from. Again, wrong. I don't know why I'm stuck on the Revolutionary War when we're talking about we're talking about the Civil War here. But we're actually going to pass on this because the budget's super low, $50, and we don't feel super confident in, like, do they really want a New Jersey? Like, it doesn't. The modern New Jersey accent feels very modern. It feels like, I don't know, I'm imagining all those movies, or like watching the John Adams series on HBO, and like imagining hearing that New Jersey accent would just not feel, it would feel very out of time. It would feel very much like an anachronism. That's the word I was looking for. The anachronistic Jersey accent. I'd be curious to hear some history about, like, you know, how modern are the accents that we know and love today, and, you know, when did they really come about and separate? So here we've got, all right, let's double check. We've got 3 jobs left that we're looking at real quick, and we're going to make sure we don't have anything identifying before we bring them up. let's see here. So this one will be good to show. This one should be good to show. And then this one will be good to show. Okay, so we're going to come back over. So we're back to the main Voice123 page. So let's look at this first one. And right off the bat, we are not auditioning for this because we are over the requested amount of proposals. Once again, we got it confirmed from Voice123 that not getting listened to does not hurt you in the algorithm. But in my opinion, it is still a waste of time. I would love to see statistics of how many clients listen to, in a case like this, how often is proposal number 51 listened to? Like, how choosy are clients really that if they say, I want 50 proposals, like, surely the right voice is in those first 50. Surely. Would love to see those statistics, but we're going to pass on this because it would be a waste of our time. So, X out of that. Ireland Golf Travel Series. Would love this. Interesting that they want a USA voice. Sometimes, I can see justification for either. And in this case, they have chosen for the broad North American accent here. Good budget. We are over the amount of proposals. So that is why we are almost certainly going to pass on this one. But I love these sort of mini, it's documentary style. This isn't exactly, it's not really salesy. We don't get the sense that we're not advertising this golf course. We are a golf channel or a golf YouTube or something like that, and we're just sort of like giving information to our viewers about like this cool golf course that you can travel to. And so it's not a sales delivery, it's a documentary delivery almost. You do want to get people excited. It's not full on like, and here is the golf course. It's probably somewhere in between. And so the delivery would be something like, planning a trip to Ireland can be daunting. So many great options, so little time. But one often overlooked area is Galway. As the festival capital of Ireland and home to nearly 500 pubs, there is plenty of on and off-course fun to be had. Man, that feels good. I love it. But, again, waste of our time because we're over the requested amount of proposals. Ain't no chance we're going to listen to, especially with this client who only reviews 60% of proposals anyway. So, as much of a bummer as that is, we're going to decline that one. And this one. Two reasons we're going to decline this. Number one, we are over our amount of proposals. Number two, these three letters right here. TTS. Let's talk TTS. TTS. Text to speech. This is, you are going to train an AI voice with your voice. You are going to read a 17,500 word script, and they're going to use that audio that you deliver them to train an AI voice, much like you hear, on TikTok or Instagram videos when it's like, my dog likes this, when it's that obvious fake voice, like, my dog is a crazy little munchkin. Those kinds of voices, there's some voice actor somewhere that donated or had stolen their voice for that AI voice. And what you have to think about, usually these projects, they usually pay pretty well, or they seem to pay well. $1,000. And I'm only reading, that is 2 hours of audio. God, 2 hours of audio. And even this, besides, there will be a $5,000 licensing fee paid to hired talents. So even if it's this full $6,000, and this is all legit and it really does happen, you get $6,000. But say they use that AI voice and they use it to do spots, national television spots for McDonald's and Coca-Cola and Home Depot. Suddenly you are conflicted out of doing any national fast food restaurant, any national beverage chain, and any home improvement chain. And those jobs are worth way more than a measly $6,000. If you get a national ad campaign with Coca-Cola, I live frugally. I'd probably be set for a year from one job. But because you did this TTS thing and you signed away your voice, that is your voice. That voice will conflict you out of other jobs. And if you don't believe me, it's happening already. There are people already out there who have done this and who are getting conflicted out of jobs. And the really tough thing is sometimes you don't know. You don't know that you're conflicted. So what you're seeing now is you're seeing contract language that basically says, have you sold your voice to be AI trained? And it's a yes or no. And if you answer yes, you're out of consideration. Because if I'm Coca-Cola and I'm about to pay out a 6-figure contract for someone to be the new voice of my campaign, why would I hire a talent who has put out there an AI version of their voice that I hire them and the campaign is launched. Millions of people out there have heard your voice as the voice of Coca-Cola. And then suddenly people start hearing that voice advertising Pepsi or advertising illegal content or just really content that Coca-Cola does not want to be associated with. Like, what a horrible situation for Coca-Cola, for you, and for all the attorneys involved, except for they're going to make their money. I cannot stress enough, and I'm not just in boomer mode being like, skeptical of technology. I cannot stress enough that if you are in dire financial straits enough that this possible $6,000 payday is going to make you forego, what could be a lucrative career, if you're in such dire straits that you need to take this short-term gain for a long-term loss, then you need to step back and maybe not be jumping into voiceover as quickly as you are right now. Maybe you need to keep that day job and keep your hours at full time. You need to do whatever you need to do to where you don't feel the desperation to take a job like this, which is a potential career killer. And I am not exaggerating. Doing any of these TTS, text-to-speech jobs, it can potentially bite you in the ass 6 months in the future, 16 years in the future. We have no idea how these are perpetual usage agreements. Look at this. Unending usage. Revocable upon request. Give me a break. Revocable upon request. Maybe, you're going to pay back all that money? No, I absolutely do not for a second believe that. They're going to have contracts that you're going to sign, and this revocable upon request is probably going to be more than paying back this. It's probably going to have outrageous termination fees. There's absolutely no way. I don't believe that for a second. Neither should you. Just don't do it. I guess if you want to, there was a very talented voice talent out there who basically had her voice stolen, and it was being used on TikTok and other places, and she successfully sued. Now there's this new law in Nashville that basically criminalized stealing. Finally there's a law that says using someone's voice, training an AI, and developing a TTS on someone's voice without their consent is a crime. And I think it was based on, this is Tennessee, Elvis. It was based on you can't do that. I guess the estate of Elvis Presley lobbied for or had some case, and it was decided that we can't do that. And so that's actually great news for talent. And it's great just in the broader AI creator sphere that we're actually getting some popular support from people. Like yeah, it was funny to laugh at AI imagery for a long time, but people got sick of it really quick because there's a look to it. And it's not just like, oh, that has 6 fingers or whatever, but there is a look to it that's just, there's an uncanny valley aspect to it. It cheapens itself, it cheapens the subject, it cheapens everything that you're trying to do. So it's great to see that human artists are sort of like, they're sort of clawing their way back into being seen as legitimate and valuable and worth paying, rather than just putting in an AI prompt. Seeing all these absolute buffoons out there, like you can pay me, and I'm a AI prompt smith. Pay me, and I will use the secret combination of words that I've developed to put into the AI engine to spit out an image that you'll like. Like, what a bunch of charlatans. Come at me. Absolutely come at me. I don't care. Charlatans, get a life, pick up a pencil and learn to draw, you losers. On the voice side of things, there's a similar thing. I just had I had an author. Uh, there is a place for AI voice, absolutely. There are things that are impossible for human voices to do. For example, automated updates that need to happen fast. So emergency alerts. You know, hey, there's a tornado coming or whatever, and for people who are blind or have issues with seeing, having audible updates is so important. So text to speech is hugely valuable for a big portion of the population. So I'm not saying that there's no space anywhere. For like the weather, like what are you gonna do? Like hire someone to read the weather every 2 minutes? Like that's impossible to have like a live human voice do weather updates in those types of situations. So absolutely, there's a lot of app situations where an AI voice totally makes sense. But for something like an audiobook, like come on. Again, even in audiobooks, there are spaces. If it's a book that is so far back catalog that there's never going to be enough demand to justify the expense of hiring a human to narrate this audiobook, especially if it is if it's like nonfiction, if there's not great depth of emotion, the kinds of things that you need a human to portray, then those cases, absolutely, it makes sense. And again, I always think of it from the accessibility standpoint for blind and for folks, other folks who cannot read, physical text. An AI voice in those cases might work fine. But I had an author for whom I've read 9 books, all in one big main series. Great fun, really fun series. But he wrote a book outside the main series, and he wanted a female voice because the protagonist in that book was female, and it was very much like first person point of view. So it didn't make sense for my voice to be reading this woman's inner thoughts for an entire book. So he wanted to hire a female narrator, and so he ended up hiring someone who submitted an audition with her real voice and everything. But when it came time to hire and actually deliver audio, she delivered AI audio as the final, not as her audition of the like, hey, I'm out of the studio, I'm on vacation, and so here's the AI version of my voice. I promise, like, if you think this is good enough, I promise that the actual product will be me really reading it. They did the opposite. They pulled the switcheroo of a real audition and an AI delivery. And needless to say, the author and the publisher were not amused. They canceled the project. The contract was set up in such a way that they were able to terminate the contract, and that narrator got $0. And they didn't push back, which is another red flag that, like, yeah, you got caught and you don't have a leg to stand on. What unbelievable, the Stones, the stones on this woman. Don't do that. Again, I do know that there are a couple of big name voice talent. I won't say their names, but if you spend enough time on the Facebook groups and things like that, you'll know a couple of the names that I have in my head. I know that there are a couple of people who do have AI versions of their voice ready to go for cases where they are out of the studio, and their agent or someone wants an audition really quickly. So they go, but they're transparent. They're clear about what's going on. So the audition call comes in. They respond, "Hey, I'm out of the office, but send me the audition copy." Maybe they already did. "Thank you for the audition copy. I plugged it into my AI voice. I promise I will be home on this point. If you'd like to hear a new audition, I can get you a new live voice audition at that time, or we can book a session if you're happy with my AI voice audition and you trust that I'll actually be able to deliver with my real voice what you're looking for, then let's go ahead and book it, and we'll go from there." And they do extremely well. So that's something that works for them. But the point is the transparency. And this all goes back to here on this website. I know I've been yapping forever. All a big lead up to just declining this job. This, I think, is absolutely BS. This revocable upon request. What does request mean? What does revocable mean? Yeah, I don't think so. Like, looking at this, and they're not even going to give you all those words. They just need you talking, If they wanted to, they could sit on this stream and just scrape the audio, and they could steal my voice. But thankfully, at least in Tennessee now, that is on the books as a crime. Maybe as a result of this stream, we're gonna end up in the Supreme Court, and we're gonna solve this for everybody. We'll see. This is all to say, we're gonna decline it. Usually, when I decline jobs on Voice123, I'm not too bothered, and I don't want to do like 2 clicks. I want to do 1 click. So what I'll do is I'll back out to this screen, and I'll just click the X, because there I don't get a pop-up that asks me, "Well, why are you declining?" However, for TTS, I want Voice123 to know that I don't want to see TTS jobs. I'm sure I could set up a filter. I'm sure there's a much more intelligent way to do it. There used to be an option in this drop-down for TTS and AI. It's gone. I'm curious about why that is, but I'm actually going to type out TTS. That's it. Someone somewhere hopefully sees, like, okay, X amount of talent have declined this job specifically for the reason of TTS. Don't do it. Don't do the TTS. We're gonna swap over to here while we check these 2 jobs that have rolled in, and we're also gonna check and see if we got a voices job come in. So we're gonna run over to voices. Let's take a look. Reload. Fox internal hype video. Man, oh man, if this does not demonstrate how fast you have to be. This came in probably, let's see here, when did this come in? It is Easter time. So this came in 50 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago. And there are already 55 responses. So because we've been yakking the whole time, running our mouth, we missed the opportunity to get in really early. We're only a 90% voice match, so it's not such a big loss. But that is a bummer. This is also, we're probably not the right voice for this, because this seems very much like they're going to want a Latin American voice. Not just because of the sport, but because it's specifically the Copa America. You need to have a little bit of some sabor, some flavor when you say Copa America. And we do not authentically possess that sabor. We do speak a fair amount of Spanish, but we don't do bilingual jobs or jobs that are aimed at Latin American talent, because authenticity in voice over is the name of the game. And I have yet to see, the job's got to exist out there. I have yet to see it where they've got a bilingual job that is looking for a very like American accented version of this Spanish language copy. It's got to exist out there. Obviously, people of Latin American heritage would certainly be able to deliver that. Um, it would just be interesting to me to get a project where I could, use this Spanish that I've been working on for years and years. I haven't found it yet, although I do get it occasionally in audiobooks. Sometimes you'll come across foreign language passages in audiobooks, and those are really fun. I love that challenge. It's really fun. Any chance I get to speak Spanish with someone living up here where I live in the Northeast, I don't get the opportunity as much as when I lived in Texas, but it's fun when I get the chance. I've got some Latino friends up here, and we parlar, we charlar, we hablar. Let's see here. I'm checking to make sure we don't have identifying information on this client posting. We don't. And do we have it on this one? It looks like we don't. Actually, we do in the copy itself, but let's see if this is something we're going to do anyway. We might do it. I'm curious, and maybe I need to follow up with Voice123. So, if you're joining us late, we got a very nice message from Voice123 with some updated information to make sure that we are talking about the right kind of information on this channel, but also with a request that we obscure certain client identifying information. So certainly the client name, if the client has like their first and last name or a company name. But I'm curious if they also feel that applies for the if the audition copy includes the brand name. So maybe I need to follow up with them and see how we feel about that. This job though, I don't have it up on the screen. We're not sure that we're going to do this one because it's going to be, they're looking for a younger voice than we are. But let's take a look at this other job here that we're pretty early to. Sort of the homepage explainer. I feel, you know what? I feel confident that we'll be safe here. The client name is anonymized, so we're good to go here. So there we go. Something that I've seen other people mention is a red flag, just a reason for them to pass up on an audition, is if the client doesn't know for sure whether they're looking for male or female talent. I don't have a strong feeling either way. I haven't noticed in my own data like a strong correlation between like, okay, am I hired significantly less when the client doesn't know whether they want male or female versus when they know they want male. I don't know if there's a big gulf there, and I don't know if there is, if it's a big enough gulf that would prevent me from submitting an audition. Let's take a look here. Is your parking lot showing signs of wear and tear? Seal coating helps protect your asphalt from rain, freezing temperatures, and sunlight. Apple? Let's do a little bit of research. For something as simple as this, a great way. So for some words, you'll look up something like, so if it's a proper noun, like the name of a place or something like that, I'll go to a place like Forvo, F-O-R-V-O. And if I was looking to, like, let's think of a world name, like if I didn't know how to say Kim Jong-il, you can put it in here and you can get, not only is this a pronunciation, but this is a pronunciation from a native Korean speaker.
Kim Jong-il.
And you can hear that was not my sort of American approximation of that. That was a native Korean speaker. So Forvo, F-O-R-V-O, it actually stands for voiceover, is actually where that comes from, is my understanding. Forvo is a killer resource. However, for things like name brands, especially smaller name brands, you're going to have a really hard time finding it on Forvo unless it's a huge brand name. Like, I'm sure if we looked up, I'm trying to think of like, I can't even think. I'm sure there's some big brand names that have pronunciations that might be tough. It would have to be a huge brand name, I think, to show up on Forvo. But I can guarantee that Appel or whatever this is not going to show up here. What you're going to get is maybe this is a German or other language word that does exist, but this is not the brand name.
Appell.
Appell. That is not what we're looking for. So don't shoot yourself in the foot here, because like
Der eindringliche Appell war berechtigt.
I have a feeling, I don't speak German, but I have a feeling they're not talking about the driveway sealant company. So what you do instead is you try to find the company on YouTube. So we just go to YouTube and we look up Appell, Appell. Let's see here. And this is, what does this company do again? It's seal coating. Let's look up Appell seal coating. Seal coating. Here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. This is, and it's
Hey guys, I just want to do a follow-up video. We're on site today on actual process crack filler. I'll show you something before and after.
So usually in videos like this, you hope that they're gonna say the company name in the first or last 5 seconds. You can turn on, I don't know why we've got French. We've got French closed captions on for some reason, but let's check near the end and see if they say the company name. Looks not. Let's look at the Appell stripping channel.
Hi, I'm Elena.
And I'm Kristen.
We had such a great first year at RIFMA, and we are extremely excited to be returned
Say the name.
2020 in Denver.
We made so many.
Come on.
Our goal is to
Full scale paving. Repair,
Wait.
including line striping your parking lot needs.
Wait.
We are a paving maintenance company covering all your parking lot needs.
Say.
We look forward to seeing you. And come find us at number 505.
See you there.
So we're gonna try it again.
Hey guys, I'm Mike Appell, and I'm Brian Appell.
Ah! It's Mike and Brian, and it's their last name, Appell. Very good. It took us a while to get there, but we got there. We know how to say the name of this company. Sometimes it'd be like that, but we got it. We're gonna read this copy. Here we go. Is your parking lot showing signs of wear and tear? Seal coating helps protect your asphalt from rain, freezing temperatures, and sunlight. Appell's hydraulic agitated seal coat tanks ensure even application, extending the life of your parking lot while enhancing its appearance. Let's end on a little bit of a higher note. Extending the life of your parking lot while enhancing its appearance. Okay? We had a little bit of truck noise going on, but we're going to trust in our high-pass filter. We live close enough to a main road to where super heavy trucks can be a problem from time to time. But again, we are going to trust in our, let's see here. We're going to have to figure out where this cut is. Is your parking lot showing signs of wear and tear? Seal coating helps protect your asphalt from rain, freezing temperatures, and sunlight. Appell's hydraulic agitated seal coat tanks ensure even application, extending the... There we go. I think all of this. Tanks ensure even application, extending the life of your parking lot while enhancing its appearance. Okay, that looks fine. Again, we could agonize over this. I feel like I was a little sibilant, maybe. Explainer. I feel like I was a little sibilant, my S's were a little bit funny, but agonizing over minutia that's not going to get you hired. We're going to delete this copy and we're going to paste in our special generic copy. There we go. We do include a note that we are a military veteran, and this company seems like the kind of company that might care about that. So we're going to do this, hit submit, boom. That one's good to go. Head over to this one. Likewise, we feel like we actually feel good about submitting for this one. So we're going to go ahead and do that. turn off RX. RX introduces that crazy delay there. So we turn it off while we are recording, and then we turn it on when we're ready to send stuff out. So let's go ahead and do this High School Career Center voiceover. Here we go. Vocational training isn't just education, it's entrepreneurship. Now, at the Machine Technology Program at Warren County... Now, at the Machine Technology Program at Warren County Career Center... Oh. Now, the Machine Technology Program at Warren County Career Center is also a student-run manufacturing enterprise. Is also a student-run manufacturing enterprise. First-class precision manufacturing. Okay. Little rough. We got through it, though. We're big-time professionals. Vocational training isn't just education. It's entrepreneurship. Now, at the machine, we got it all the way over here. We're going to do that. It isn't just education. It's entrepreneurship. Now, the Machine Technology Program at Warren County Career Center is also a student-run manufacturing enterprise. Technology Program at Warren County Career Center is also... So we've got a glottal stop that leads us into the word also, and that provides us the perfect chance to cut in. Got to learn about your glottal stops. Warren County Career Center is also... Make sure you cut the right one, though. County Career Center is also a student-run manufacturing enterprise. First-class precision manufacturing. Okay. We feel good about that. Good enough, anyway. There we go. And we're going to call this First-class precision. That's fine. It's a clever name. First class, get it? It's the class. You get it? You get it? There we go. Save it. There we go. And back to projects. We're going to quickly go over to here to make sure that we're not revealing any identifying information about this client. Let's see here. Nope, this looks good to go. Here's something, I have yet to book a job. Yeah, we're good to go to share this. So for this client, sometimes you'll see budgets in something other than United States dollars. And if you are outside the United States, that might be fine. But if you're in the U.S. and you see, CAD 200, what does that mean? I can't speak to it personally yet because I don't think I have booked a job in a currency other than U.S. dollars at this time. Or perhaps I have and the client just did the conversion on their own prior. But I would imagine, PayPal and all these other platforms are pretty good about pretty seamlessly handling the exchanges. You get a fair market exchange rate. You might, one of you, yourself or the client, might pay a small fee for that. My bank personally, because I'm a veteran, I've got access to USAA, and USAA has loads of crazy benefits, and one of them is a lot of benefits regarding avoiding exchange rate fees. Again, in certain situations, don't take that as gospel there. But we are going to go ahead and read this, right? We're coming up close to the end of the proposals list, but I think we're okay because we feel good about our voice being appropriate for this. This all-in-one platform will allow you to grow your sales funnel. Plus, it's easy to get started. Just synchronize LinkedIn ads and lead info and watch. Just synchronize LinkedIn ads and lead info and watch your business thrive. Find hot leads with lead info. All right, really simple. Feels good, not too salesy. This all-in-one platform will allow you to grow your sales funnel. Plus, it's easy to get started. Just synchronize LinkedIn ads and lead sales funnel. Plus, it's easy to get started. Just synchronize LinkedIn ads and lead info and watch your business thrive. Find hot leads with lead info. Okay, we're going to call that good to go. Bounce this out. We're finally getting into a groove. Accept invite. Here's the audio. And send. So these last jobs have all had a budget that I'm comfortable with given the usage. They've all had a fixed budget, so I'm not having to head over to the GVAA rate guide to find how to quote it. It's been really straightforward, really simple. So we're very happy to see that. And we've been early enough to where we're not, completely out of the loop as far as trying to actually get the job here. Let's make sure the client isn't identified. Good. Let's take a look here and see what this job's about. Add VO script for product launch, American accent. Love to see it. Okay. VO should sound mature and high energy, but naturally read. This ad is attached to give you a line. Okay, so the footage is here to take a look at, but let's see if we want to do this. It's the Always Pan Pro. We've already seen this. We saw it over on voices.com. So this will be interesting as an experiment. We're going to go ahead and hit accept the invite. We're going to find our audio that we've already did. Double check. It is the same copy. So they just posted it to 2 different websites. Totally understand that. It is going to be interesting. If anything's going to get me in trouble, this might. Comparing this with what we see over on Voice123. We're briefly going to take off the window and we're going to head over to Voice123 and we're going to see. Oh man, let's see here. Answered. They use the same title. So, I don't want to. Let this be a data point. I'm not saying one platform is doing something. Maybe the client just did different things. But on Voice123, the budget for this exact same job shows up as up to $275 USD. But over on voices.com, the budget for this job shows as between $100 and $249 for the exact same job, the exact same usage, everything. And to show that maybe the client actually in their head, $230 that's the number that's in their head. But they didn't put that. They just 100 to 249 is sort of a standard bucket that voices.com has. Or maybe it's you put in the parameters of your project and it generates a suggested budget range. Maybe that's how it works. I'm not really sure. But me as talent, when I see 100 to 249, I sort of, based on my own experimenting and success, for 100 to 249, I'm always quoting 190. It's closer to the top end of the range, but I drop just under that $200 marker because humans, when they see 99 cents, we think, oh, that's so much cheaper than if we see $1. So that's what I'm doing. I'm ducking just under that next $100 amount, and that's what I do for any of these buckets. So if it's the $750 to $999 range, I will usually quote $890. So over here on Voices, I quoted $190. But over here on Voice123, because it sort of pre-fills in $275 because that's just the way the website works, yeah, the negotiable little button was checked, but in theory, if they book me on Voice123, they're going to book me for $275. If they book me on voices.com, they're gonna book me for $190, but I'm not going to get paid $190. I'm going to get paid 80% of $190. So that's an amount. That's like $154, more than that, some amount like that. The point is, so I'm getting like double dinged in the comparison between these two. Number one, because just the way that the prices are presented to me as the talent, and the way that prices options were presented to the client, just my starting point was lower. Because here I'm starting at $275. Here, the maximum that I'm going to put, if I feel like I have a chance of getting hired, is the $249. But because in my head I've got this little game that I play, and I'm starting at $190. I'm starting so far below that. That's $85 less, $85 cheaper on the other website, and then I'm going to get dinged for an additional 20. So obviously, for this particular client, if they're watching, my preference is that they hire me on Voice123. Now, voices.com, their terms of service are very, very clear, and they are very aggressive about you cannot take clients off platform. So if I were to like write a message to this client saying like, hey, hire me on voice123.com, or here's my email, here's how you hire me, that would get me potentially banned from voices.com really quick. Because that's just how their terms of service work. They want to own the client forever, the client relationship that you as the talent. And so that's how their terms of service work. And if you as talent are okay with voices.com forever owning 20% of that relationship, then that's something you have to consider. I view Voices as a great place to get one-off jobs. If it was something like an IVR client or something like that, I would think twice about engaging with that client on Voices if I also saw them on Voice123. And this is a case where I saw the audition on voices.com first. And so we submitted the audition, but then I saw it on Voice123. Now, I think voices.com would be hard pressed to justify saying that I've violated terms of service by contacting the client outside or taking the client off platform. I haven't directly engaged with the client in a way that would violate the terms of service. I absolutely have not. And I don't know. If this live stream is ever going to get me in trouble, it's going to be because of situations like this. But if anything, I hope that it saves a lot of other talent trouble, because the disparity between the pay that will come out between these two websites for the same job, and the huge risk, because if this client hires me for this job and for 10 jobs thereafter, not only do I get to keep 100% of this larger number, but Voice123 isn't taking 20% of each of those follow-on jobs, and Voice123 doesn't care if we continue our relationship off platform, as far as I know. Maybe I'll get another nice email saying like, actually that part's wrong. But like, it doesn't matter to me, because I still get the number that is shown to me. And in this case, it's a bigger number than on the other platform. So again, I'm not going to reach out to this client, because that would definitely put me in some hot water. But putting out to the universe, in this case, for me as the talent, voices.com is clearly the inferior platform for my business. And I know that they get this complaint a whole lot, like, why should we continue to pay you basically an agent fee for, like, you provided the first time valuable service. Absolutely. And so you get the 20% for the first time, let alone that we're paying a big yearly fee. So like, we're getting double dinged, and then you're going to ding us on every, relationship in perpetuity, that's wild to me. I'm not complaining because we're still making money, and so that's fine. I am complaining, but it just seems wild to me, the difference that we're seeing on the same job here. So we'll see if anything comes of this. Maybe I've just stirred the pot. That's not our goal. Our goal is not to stir the pot. Our goal is to serve as a source of information for primarily newer voice actors to figure out, like, do I want to do that? Like, what does the day look like? What does it look like to actually work as a voice actor? And really, it's ending up with me just yapping on and on about crazy things in the industry, such as how these different platforms work. It looks like we have seen released a whole bunch of Voice123 jobs. We got another voices.com job. So it looks like we're not having time to walk over to ACX, though. You know what? We're going to go ahead and pull up ACX and just see. ACX is really easy to deny projects. We have to get the filter up here. It never remembers the male filter for some reason. And we can see right away that there are no new jobs, no new projects that fit our filters on ACX. So that's job done. We're done on ACX, but we can head over to voices.com because I believe we've got a new job. Where are we? Actually, we don't. We already saw the one that came in. So we're good to go there. Let's take a look back and see if there are any new projects worth doing on Voice123 before we say goodbye. We've got another industrial explainer. We love these. This is all good to go. The fee is a little low, but that's fine. We're going to do this real quick as our final huzzah. Here we go. We're on Pro Tools. We're on the right scene here. Here we go. Our mission is to bring the world closer together through incredible experiences. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood or... So, like, what is this? Oh, okay. So this is a travel app. I like to say it's great to jump in totally cold and be surprised by the copy. And sometimes you are so surprised to find out that your initial read is not right. But that's okay. The times that you are surprised in the right way are worth it because those are magic. So let's try this again. Our mission is to bring the world closer together through incredible experiences. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood, or an adventure. Trying to find the right way. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood or an adventure. We're going to save ourselves a little bit of time on the edit here. I think we're all experiences. We're all the way back there. We're punching and rolling through incredible experiences. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood or an adventure new in your neighborhood, through incredible experiences. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood or an adventure abroad, through incredible experiences. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood, my monitor made a note there, through incredible experiences. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood or an adventure abroad, through incredible experiences. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood or an adventure abroad. Through incredible experiences. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood or an adventure abroad, we bring the best experiences from around the globe to you. We bring the best experiences from around the globe to you. We bring the best experiences from around the globe to you. We set out a decade ago to use technology to simplify the way people approached travel. Anytime you have that CHED abutting against a hard T like that, I can really have a hard time there. Let's go ahead and edit as we go here, though. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood or an adventure abroad, we bring the best experiences from around the globe to you. I actually like that first one. Like the first one, I think was fine. We're overthinking it. So where are we here? We set out a decade ago. How do we feel about that? We set out we don't want it to be too dramatic. Bring the best experiences. Right? That's where we are here. Okay. Yeah, let's record here. Experiences from around the globe to you. We set out a decade ago to use technology to simplify the way people approached travel, removing friction and making travel more enjoyable. Since then, we have become Asia's go-to travel app. Since then, we have become Asia's go-to app. Since then, we have become Asia's go-to app for travel and leisure experiences, connecting 30 million monthly active users with 30,000 merchants across 2,500 destinations. Across 2,500 destinations. Okay. You'd be tempted to really lean into the smiley read a little bit too much. Couple experiences. Maybe that's right. Whether it's something new in your neighborhood or an adventure abroad, we bring the best experiences from around the globe to you. We set out a decade ago to use technology to simplify the way people approached travel, removing friction and making travel more enjoyable. Since then, we have become Asia's go-to app for travel and leisure experiences, connecting 30 million monthly active connecting 1,000 merchant travel and leisure experiences, connecting 30 million monthly active users with 30,000 merchants across 2,500 destinations. All right, we're going to call that good enough. Hit our crossfades, turn on RX, bounce. We're just going to call it Travel App Explainer, Travel App Explainer. And then we come over here, accept the invite, hit this, grab it. This might be a spot where I actually am tempted to remove the note about being a military veteran. You know, there are a lot of U.S. military bases in various parts of the world, and you know, a lot of the locals who live around those bases have good reasons not to be big fans of the U.S. military. But we don't know if they're using a production company as a middle person. We don't know, so we're not going to overthink it. We're just going to submit and forget. And that is, we're going to call that done for the auditions. We may have a couple roll in, but we've got some exciting audiobook work to do. We are in production on book 2 of a really fun, sort of a thriller type. It's a really fun, good, gritty series, and we're on book 2 of it. And we begin recording in earnest, perhaps later today or tomorrow. And I am chatting with the author about getting his blessing to live stream that. So at some point, hopefully, very soon, we may see, I want to do an entire live stream that is just, here's what it takes to produce 1 hour of finished audio. I was talking earlier when we were looking at those children's book auditions about, you know, the ratio and all that kind of stuff. So I want to show what it actually takes, and even to see the things that get accounted for versus not accounted for when you're calculating your own ratio. I know for my ratio, I keep quoting 2.3 to 2.5 depending on what I'm reading, but there are a lot of things that just it's hard to track, or it sort of makes no sense, you know, at any job. Like, yeah, you're on the clock for 8 hours, but you take a bathroom break, you chat with your coworkers. You're not necessarily working that whole 8 hours. And so it's the same here. So what I track is when I'm actually working, when I'm actually, the record light is on and I'm reading, or I'm actually editing. Those are the things that I track. And anything else beyond that, I consider that like I'm not working, and so I'm not going to track it. What's the point? But there are things that that you sort of should be aware of and keep in the back of your mind when you're doing the audiobook. So just simple things like file management. You know, do you have a good naming convention, and is your setup such that you're going to have to be renaming things and doing all kinds of mess, like that can really take up a lot of time if you're not careful. I've got a really simple and straightforward setup that basically Pro Tools knows every time I export that the next one, it's just going to auto increment that chapter number. And so it's really straightforward, so easy to work with. Uploading the files to ACX. If you use a proofer, which you shouldn't be proofing your own work. I use Positron. That whole thing takes time. Doing the pickups that your proofer discovered you need to do, that takes time. These are all things that don't necessarily get factored into that ratio, and so you need to sort of keep that in mind. So if you've got a nice round number, like 3-to-1, that's just the ballpark that I use. 3-to-1 hours to produce a finished hour of audio. Maybe in the back of your mind, make that a 4-to-1, because again, yeah, file management, uploading, even sitting and waiting for your DAW to export. You know, that RX, that noise, the mouth declick plugin, that is a really processor intensive plugin, and that makes your export, your bounce, your render of your audio, it makes it really slow. So it doesn't matter so much for short, voiceover files, but for an audiobook, when you've got a 10-hour audiobook, that render ratio, you could be sitting there babysitting a chapter by chapter, like, okay, render this one now, render that one. You could be sitting there for 2 hours just babysitting renders. And then you upload, and then you have to make sure the titles are they're all correct in ACX. Like, there's a lot that goes into it, and we have to sort of be on top of our game to where we're as efficient as we can be with all these. So I think if I can get approval from this author, that's what we're going to do tomorrow, if we can. We'll probably start with voiceover auditions, because that is sort of the focus of this stream for the first part. But then we'll go into the full-on ACX, just the audiobook creation, and then actually interfacing in ACX and getting things uploaded and going from there. But again, it requires our author to approve such. So some of these 9 emails that I'm looking at here are with the author. So I'm gonna go and see what's going on there. I want to thank you for stopping by. Thank you, big thank you to the Voice123 folks. I don't know how you found me. I don't know how much you watched. You watched enough to have some comments and suggestions. So I really do appreciate that. The folks at Voice123 have been nothing but nice in any of our support interactions, and they've been nice to me despite me being a gripey, whiny baby. So big thanks to them for their grace. Hope to interface with them more in the future whenever that's appropriate. But until then, we're going to say thank you so much for watching, and we will see you. We'll see you again same time tomorrow. Love you all.